first thing we need to do is have the first body that we will be connecting. So you will create your own body, but I will be creating on the top plane an example rectangle. To have it symmetrical above the or along the red line, I will use the midpoint constraint. So I will click on the midpoint, then select the line and then the origin. This way it is symmetrical. Now I can start basically dimensioning my rectangle. So since it's an example, I want to have 20 millimeters right over here, and then I can just click on the equal constraint and click on both of these lines. That way it creates a square instead of a rectangle. Now I can start making the shape of the snap fit that I want to have. So my favorite one is a slot one, where I click on the center one, and then as you can see, you can just start creating the slot. I will give you over here my dimensions, but you can completely customize this to yourself and to the size of the part that you are connecting. So once you have this, the center line for me was 8 millimeters. Then from the center to the line, which is basically the radius of the slot that you are creating, for me is 3 millimeters. And then I need to have it symmetrical above or like along the red line again. So what I will need to do is I will need to connect the origin to the middle of this line. So I will take a line and then from the origin to the middle. But as you can see right now, it would be basically still at an angle. So I need to make it horizontal, doing it by going into constraints, clicking on it, and then clicking on the line again. But since I don't want this line to interfere in my sketch, I will just click on it and make it construction either by the shortcut of X, just as this, or you can right click it and select normal or construction. So once you have that, we can actually start setting the distances of this slot so that it can actually have everything constrained. So I will make one of the lines over here and the second one over here, and then because we need even basically the hole that the slot will be inserted with, I need to sketch even these lines that will create the insert hole. Over here I want this distance to be 2 millimeters. Of course, as I said, you can completely customize this to yourself. I will hopefully input all of these dimensions or include like a photo of this whole sketch into the description so that you can replicate it and have the picture yourself so that you can have it a bit easier times replicating it. So once this is done, we can actually finish this sketch. That will be all that we will be needing from this. It's always good to keep the sketches as simple as possible. And now I will be creating the example body that I will be then connecting. So I will click on extrude and then select all of the profiles. Now I want to have it symmetrical to both sides, and because I want to have it 20 millimeters, I will input just 10 because it's symmetrical, so it will be on both sides. It will create a new body, but as you can see, the sketch was hidden. But because I need to work with the sketch a bit more, I will go into sketches and then click on the sketch. So once I have the sketch again there, of course, right now I couldn't reach it, and a good way to reach it is always to hold down your left mouse button, and then it enables you to basically pick anything from that is in the way of your mouse. So once you select the profile, you can just click on extrude again, and right now select all of the profiles, and we will be making the hole or the insert for the slot itself. So select all of them, and then just make sure you input a value that is a bit higher than the height of your final snap fit will be. So for example, I want to have it 5 millimeters, so I will make it 5.5 because then there will be 0.5 millimeters of clearance. So once I have that, I can just click on OK in the menu. It cut it perfectly, and as you can see, this will be the inserting window in which it will go, and now I need to create the hole that it will be sitting in. So just again click on extrude and select both of these profiles and make the hole. Now either you can make it a bit deeper so that it sits there better, or you can just make it 5 millimeters, the exact same that you want your slot to be, because then it will basically align perfectly. So once you have that, right now we can actually stop with this body, so you can go and hide this body, go in the bodies, just click on the eye, and now create the second body. So since I want to have it 5 millimeters, I will select both of the profiles and extrude it 5 millimeters down, and as you can see, the operation is new body. That's really important, and click on OK. Now, once we have that, we can actually hide this first sketch so that it isn't interfering with this part right over here. And now we will be starting a new sketch on the middle plane, or the plane that is going straight through it. And so you will click on create sketch, new sketch, and click the middle plane that is going straight through this part. Once you do that, we need to somehow have this wall inside of our sketch to be able to like start sketching on it. And to do that, you need to project it. If you don't know, you can either go in the create, and over here you can select the project or include, if it will allow you to see it, yes, the project or include, and select the project. But I always recommend to just learn the shortcut P, which is a lot faster. So if you want, you can just click on P and select this wall that will give it us in the sketch itself. So once you have that, now we need to create the part that it will be snapping against. That sketch will be 2 millimeters from down here. So either you can create a line, or you can just start with the circles. So you create the first circle. This one will be 1.1 in diameter, and then the second circle that will be the exact same. So you can just place it there and then go in the constraints and make it equal. So click on both of them, then also make them tangent, both of these, and then all you need to do is create a line between these two that will be also tangent to both of them, so that it actually creates like basically the whole profile of the snap fit. Once you have that, the only dimension it needs is the space between this circle and the bottom line over here. So you can just click on D as dimension. Once you have both of them selected, you can just drag it out. And what I found out works quite good is to make it 2 millimeters. Then just make sure that this point is on this line, and to make it you can just go in the coincident constraint and click on the point and click on the line itself, and as you can see, we have it right now fully constrained, and that's the whole profile of the snap fit that we will be needing. So again, finish sketch. Once you finish sketch, you can go in the create menu and select the sweep function. With the sweep function, oh no, I'm sorry, my camera was in the way. With the sweep function, we enable us to basically select the profile and start moving with it along a path. So select the sweep, and then the profile that we will be selecting, because we will be cutting it, you need to select these three profiles. Again, to select something that is in the way of your mouse but behind the body, you can just hold down the left button of your mouse and then select the profile from the menu that appears. Once you have these three profiles selected, you can select the path, the top of the snap fit, which is this whole part. This is what you need to have selected. And once you select that, Fusion will fully cut it along the whole path, and then you have the beautiful hole created. Now we will need to be offsetting it so that it actually fits and it doesn't just and so it isn't too hard to insert it. For this thing, we will need to offset the whole thing by 0.3 millimeters, and then even offset extra the bottom walls by 0.15, which will basically give it enough space to be fitted inside of the first body itself. So select the offset feature, and then to not have to select all the faces one by one, what you can do is you can just look from the front, just like this, and select all of these, as you can see, and then just input minus 0.3. This will give it enough clearance to be inserted, but to be able to snap it and then even basically take it out, we need to offset these three faces down over here even by additional 0.15. So minus 0.15, perfect. Now that this is done, this is basically all that you can do for this part. Now we could start filtering it and doing all extra work, but this is really all that it takes for it to work. So I will just stay with that. And now to finish this part, we need to just create the hole that it will be basically moving along so that it can have that flex there. So create a new sketch on top of this body, just like this, and then just make a construction line which will be in the middle again, and then sketch another which will be like an arc. Once you drag the line, as you can see, it starts creating the arc instead of a line, so you can just create this body right over here as I have created. And to fully constrain it, we need to create another line that will be basically just a helper line from the point on top to the point on the bottom. Make the circle tangent to this line, and then make this point coincident to the construction line that we created, and then make these two lines 3 millimeters apart. Or you will put here any dimension that you want depending on the size of your press fit that you are making, and then just make any body that you want on this side of the hinge. I will be making the example square as I made before, exactly the same as was before, so it's 20 millimeters, and then the midpoint of this will go over here. That's all that I need to do, and then just make both of the sides equal, just like this. Once that is done, I have basically all that I need from this sketch. Then just cut this from the body, perfect, and then extrude this, and I will be needing to extrude it 10 millimeters down, just like this, so that it would basically fit with the first body. As you can see right now, it's perfectly aligned. That's exactly what I wanted to have. And now we can start operating with the second body because we have everything we need from the first body. So again, go in the sketches and reveal the second one, which is the one that we will be needing to create the second insert for the first body. And now we will be joining it. Select the sweep tool, select all of these three profiles as we did before, and instead of selecting the top path, we will be selecting the path on the bottom. It is exactly the same, but we are doing it because we don't have anything to select on top of over here. And as you can see, it creates the exact body that we need for it to snap in there. So this is basically everything for the second body that you need. And as you can see right over here, what it does is when the press fits, basically when you start pressing it against over here, it meets with the body. So this is where the snap is created. And then once you actually basically reach the down is when it stays together. So like this, it's locked in, but when you are inserting it and basically taking it out, it makes that sound of the snapping because over here it meets with these two walls, and that's what creates the snap. If you have any feedback or if you think I've skipped over any of those steps, make sure to comment it down below so that I can know to mention it better in the next tutorial. And I will hopefully include all of the sketches in the description so that you can just copy them over there. Hopefully this was helpful. Until next time.